Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Live with Roger Hanson. Today, our topic is going to be on ancient history. Last week, we left off. Or wait, before we say anything, I wanted to also say I'm here with Karma Love.
Hi
And
everyone.
yeah, there we go. Hi. I always mess that up.
No, you don't. You do good most times. I usually speak too soon. You'll be like, "Do you want to say? You'll be saying, do you want to say hi at the same time?" You're like, "Hey, I'm here with Carmen Love," and I'll be ready. But hey, everyone, and then you be like, "You say," but no, you do good. So no, you did good.
But we um, have gone through the history and everything so far, which relates to ancient Greece, relates to Roman history too. We started getting more into the Phoenician and the Canaanite uh, side of it, and we came across some pretty interesting mythological beings, which are, everybody calls them mythological, but back then it was their religion. So I really have
Hmm,
hard
that's
time saying
interesting.
that.
That's
So
interesting. That means that they didn't feel like they were fictional. They were actually present.
yeah,
And as far as very interesting to know.
but this week we were discussing it at the end of last week, and before I started the recording, I was talking to Karma, and I think we should continue on with this because we got into some good stuff, but it was really ahead of what we were actually reading, and I went through and I read through it, and all of the stuff we've discussed in the last two episodes does come up, but just not at this point of the reading. So
We
that's
just
what,
were getting ahead of ourselves.
yeah. And I was telling you as like you mind if we just keep the course and we'll start reading page 4. I'll read it just because it's already been read, and then we'll go on to page 5.
Yeah,
And
that'll be easier for me because I'm about to sit down and I'm not fully. I can listen better than I can participate, except for my questions and comments until
okay,
about 5 more minutes. But yeah,
all right. So go ahead and get yourself settled and muted, and I'll start reading. So, according to Philo, the names on Mount Lebanon, the mountain range of the anti-Lebanon, and the other Syrian mountains were derived from names of giants who once dwelt there. In ancient history, most high mountains were thought of as the abode of gods. In the case of Mount Lebanon, it would have been Baal Lebanon, sometimes identified as Baal Hadad. So I went in and I went to Wikipedia to determine who, or get an idea of who or what Baal Hadad was. So I am going to share that link on the live stream in the chat.
okay. Okay.
And
I'm getting the iPad pulled up now. So
now, now Hadad um, uh, is Agaritic, or Hadad, pronounced as Adad or Adade, or Isker, which is Sumerian. Now Isker, Sumerian, was the storm and rain god in the Canaanite and ancient Mesopotamian regions. He was attested as Abla, as Hadad in c. 2500 BC. From the Levant, Hadad was introduced to Mesopotamia by the Amorites, where he became known as the Akkadian, Assyrian, Babylonian god Adad. Adad and Isker are usually written with the logogram I am, the same symbol used for the Hurrian god Teshub. Hadad was also called Pitter, Ripu, Baal Zephon, or often simply Baal, which means Lord. But this title was also used for other gods. The bull was the symbolic animal of Hadad. He appeared bearded, often holding a club and thunderbolt while wearing a bull-horned headdress. Hadad was equated with the Greek god Zeus, the Roman god Jupiter, and in the cult center near Delici in Asia Minor, he was addressed as Jupiter Delicinus, as well as the Babylonian mythology Bel. So that needs a citation as well, that last comment about Bel. Bel was, I still get kind of confused about Bel, because Bel could be on too, so, or actually it could be Inky, so I don't know. And I know about the Amorites, but I didn't know that the Amorites introduced the Canaanite theology to the Sumerians.
I was just looking at the fact that it's Baal again, Baal, and I mean, like, yeah, Baal, Zephon, but still, anytime I hear Baal, automatically, you know, I'm thinking of the Baal, the undergod, the underworld and the dead. That's why I think it's crazy. Baal, Lord, but Baal means Lord by itself.
Right.
I didn't know that. Because when we read it, I thought it was something different.
Now, see, in Sumerian, En represents Lord. And Baal, I guess if it means Lord, then that means that it probably changed because of the Akkadians. When the Akkadians came along, that's when they started shifting from Sumerian to Akkadian languages, which was Semitic language. So that's that could.
So when you're Semitic, it's Jewish, and then when you're anti-Semitic, you're anti-Jewish. Is that what that means?
No, Semitics are a lot more than Jews. Everybody always puts the word Semitic with the Jewish
with
people.
The Jews. Yeah, I know we talk about that. I was just wondering, anti means you dislike a certain thing, but we're usually, when they're referring to anti-Semitic, they're usually referring to hate of the,
in today's language,
right, not what it actually means, but yeah.
It's usually just a misinterpretation of the word Semitic. Like today, people really have no idea what the word Semitic means. I mean, there's a lot of Semitic people in the world, you know.
That's something we should discuss one day on history.
Well, not on
just
history.
For like common knowledge reference. Maybe not on knowledge. I'm not on history. You don't think?
No, we could do it on
it's history though.
Yeah,
it's real.
We could do it. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, not anything that we're going to get.
It will go deeper too, because like Persian, you know, people really don't know what the whole thing behind the Persian Empire is in like Iran. Okay.
This is the perfect time for this type of stuff.
Iran is actually freaking like a part of the wording that goes with Aryan. Okay, and like everybody does the same thing with Aryan too, because it's been given a bad name. You know what I mean? But
How does
Iran,
it come to be something like that? What do you
I,
think? Are there certain chains of
I,
events, or
well, yeah, there was World War II. You know, you had freaking the Holocaust and stuff. So they
it's the
kind of,
pointing fingers game?
yeah. I mean, but Iran is actually the name that Iran eventually was penned with because of the word Aryan or Aryan, yeah. And the Indo-European is actually Indo-Aryan lineage. That's been changed around to the Indo-European, which was originally called the Indo-Aryan migration. So we we can get into all that because through the migration patterns and stuff. So that we can do later on.
How do I spell Indo-Aryan? Aryan, Aron, or I got the Indo right, Indo.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure, but Aron or
Aryan.
Aryan. Okay, so Arian.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, Indo-Aryan. Okay. I'm just gonna. I haven't been doing very well with my notes because I had so many other things on my mind, but this I think is important. So I'm just gonna look it up. I mean, this type of stuff is important to me. This aspect of my life is important. So I'm just
Uh-huh.
getting back to my studies properly, is what I'm saying, more so than I'm saying about the Indo-Aryan being significant. But go ahead, now I'm listening.
Now Bel, down here where it was Babylonian mythology, Bel ended up being a Babylonian god that replaced the old pantheon. And like I told you before, how they when they started worshiping Marduk, the Babylonians felt that the older gods like Enlil and Enki were below Marduk and Bel and all them because they were the godless or the nameless gods. So their old pantheon eventually were put into the underworld. So that
Well,
that's kind of how that all worked out. Now Enki stayed as a very important person when it came to the Babylonians, but Bel, other than Marduk, was at the head of the pantheon for the Babylonians.
That's creepiest.
Yeah,
why is my iPad talking to me now?
you have
That's
uh,
wild.
you have your thing on where it says the words that you're reading.
I didn't know I did, but that might come in handy. I don't think I should turn it off. I didn't set it, so maybe when I did an update, it did it by itself. I
Uh,
was just coming in here to what we read in, cause I'm on the Phoenician theology book, right? Not book,
mhm.
but like it is a book. But yeah, I was just making sure I'm on the right thing. And then we were looking at the had it on the Wikipedia. I saw that too. Had it is the name of somebody else though. I don't.
Hadad.
And this is
Yeah,
Hadad. Okay.
it's used quite a bit with the Assyrians when they name their uh,
Their children.
kings,
Oh,
their
the
kings and
king.
stuff.
Hada. I know. Like I know people named that. So that's interesting because I guess that says something. Do you think? And then Iskar. Iskar is Sumerian. That's what you were saying. That name for Hadad come.
Yeah.
Iskar is Sumerian. Okay. 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 God of weather, hurricanes. Yeah.
Now
But
that
Inky, where does Inky?
Enki's not
Oh,
mentioned on here. He's not mentioned on here at all. But I was just talking about the term Bel, which is down here, the Babylonian mythology Bel.
excuse
Um,
me. See, I see the ball cycle, epical ball. Okay, I'm just
yeah,
not
now
far
the
enough
ball
down yet.
cycle is where I was just getting to. It's also known as the Epic of Baal, and is a collective of stories about the god Baal from the Canaanite area, who is also referred to as Hadad, the storm god. This collection of stories is dated between 1400 and 1200 BC and was found in Ugarit, an ancient city located in modern-day Syria.
Ugarit has been coming up a lot in our reading.
Yeah.
A lot. And I think it's crazy that the equivalent of Hadad, Horus is an equivalent in Egypt, and then I didn't see, and I thought we had Baal in Egypt as well as in a Canaanite. See, and they saying it's the god of fertility, but yeah, no, Lord North was a title of honorific. I thought we saw something. It was like Mot and Baal were synonymous in one point, and that meant that they were the god of like.
Well, I know we were talking about Ma'at and
yeah.
Then Baal came into being mentioned too.
But see, they say good stuff about him on here. See, that's what I'm.
You got to remember too. It just said that it also means Lord. So, like here they got Baal Zephon. He was the epithet of the Canaanite storm god Baal, in his role as Lord of Mount Zephon. So, on that mountain, he would be Baal Zephon. So it sounds like to me they were naming each god according to the mountain. You know, each Baal god and stuff like that. It's so they could. Well, Baal was a title and horrific, meaning owner, lord, in the Northwest Semitic languages spoken in the Levant during antiquity.
You just said horrific like I said horrific. It's honorific. We both said horrific though, but it's honorific. Yeah.
Honorific.
I said it. Yeah, I thought about it being horrific too, and I'm like, well, wait. And then, yeah, no, it's honor though. Like I said the same thing when I read it just to you just now. I think that's funny.
It is honorific meaning. Yeah, title and honorific meaning owner, lord, in the Northwest Semitic languages spoken in the Levant during antiquities.
I wish I could find the one where they were talking about it meaning something else. It's so much stuff now. I don't know where it's at.
From its use among people, it came to be applied to gods. Scholars previously associated the theonym with solar cults and with a variety of something else. But in the Baal cycle, I also pulled up the Wikipedia for that too, so I'll share that link on the
fertility and weather. Yeah, I don't see anything different. I wonder what I thought I was thinking about.
Well, maybe that's something we caught. You know what I mean? It's a good catch.
It's probably Mott was what I'm getting confused, but it's just something that I feel like it was like kind of like, wow, yeah, look, portrayed as the primary enemy of the Hebrew God Yahweh. Canaanite God often portrayed, maybe that's what it was. New World Encyclopedia. I want to bookmark this. I never seen this before.
Now the Baal cycle is an Ugaritic cycle of stories about the Canaanite god Baal. Now Baal, it goes back to the definition I just made, and then it puts in parentheses owner or lord. He was a storm god associated with fertility. A fertility goddess or deity is a god or goddess associated with fertility, sex, pregnancy, childbirth, and crops. In some cases, these deities are directly associated with these experiences. In others, they are more abstract symbols. Fertility rites may accompany their worship. Now, it is one of the Ugarit texts. It is one of the Ugarit texts dated to c. 1500 to 1300 BCE. the Ugarit texts are a corpus of ancient cuneiform texts discovered since 1928 in Ugarit and Ras Ibn Hani in Syria, and written in Ugaritic and otherwise unknown Northwest Semitic language. Approximately 15,000 texts and fragments have been found to date. Now, the text identifies Baal as the god Hadad. Now, Hadad, or Isker for Sumerian, was the storm god and rain god in the Canaanite and ancient Mesopotamian languages. Now, the north as Hadad, the Northwest Semitic form of Adad. Now, the stories are written in Ugaritic, and like I said, it's an extinct Northwest Semitic language, a Northwest Semitic language, an extinct one, and written in cuneiform Abjad. And Abjad is a writing system in which only consonants are represented, leaving vowel sounds to be inferred by the reader. This contrasts with alphabets, which provide graphemes for both consonant and vowels. The term was introduced in 1990 by Peter T. Daniels. Now, it was discovered on a series of clay tablets found in the 1920s in the Tell of Ugarit, modern Ras Shamra, situated in the Mesopotamian coast of northern Syria, a few kilometers north of the modern city of Latakia, and far ahead of the current coastline. The stories include the myth of Baal Alian and the death of Baal. So, the Baal Cycle series of stories are Yam wants to rule over the other gods and be the most powerful of all. Baal Hadad opposes Yam and slays him. Baal Hadad, with the help of Anat and Atharat, pursues El to allow him a palace. Now, Anat is Anath was a goddess associated with warfare and hunting, best known from the Ugaritic texts. Most researchers assume that she originated in the Amorite culture of Bronze Age Upper Mesopotamia, and that the goddess Hanat attested in the text of something. I don't really want to click on it and go away from the page, you know what
where
I mean?
we're going, yeah. Which you're reading that on Wikipedia, right? Not on this thing
Right.
that I'm looking at. Not on the let me go back to my Wikipedia. I was looking at the Phoenician.
Now, Asherah is a fertility goddess in ancient Semitic religion who appears in a number of ancient sources. She also appears in Hittite writings as Asurdu or Asurtu. Her name is sometimes rendered Atharat in the context of her cult at Agarit. Now, Baal Hadad, with the help of Anat and Atharat, pursued El to allow him a palace. And El is the Northwest Semitic word meaning God or deity, and referring to any one of multiple major ancient Near East deities. A rarer form, Elah, represents the predicate form of Old Akkadian and in Amorite. The word is derived from the Proto-Semitic il, meaning God. So,
is this the
persuades.
Hadad?
He doesn't pursue El, he persuades El to allow him a palace. Yeah. So
This is on the Hadad Wikipedia. This isn't on the Baal Wikipedia.
no, the ball cycle. This is the last one I just posted there, down there. It's in the Jitsi chat.
Yeah, I thought that's what I was on just now. Oh no, something different. Okay.
There it is. But I misread that one word. It said that he persuade. No, it says Baal Hadad, with the help of Anat and Atharat, persuades El to allow him a palace. So allow Baal Hadad a palace. Now Baal Hadad commissions Kother Wa Kas to build him a palace. Now Kother Wa Kasis, also known as Kother or Hayayanu, was an Ugarit god regarded as a divine artisan. He could variously play the role of an architect, smith, musician, or magician. He is well attested in ritual texts, and a number of theophoric names invoking him have been identified. So, Kother Wa Kasis. Now, king of the god and ruler of the world seeks to subjugate Mot. And Mot was the Canaanite god of death and the underworld.
You gotta get you a soundbar.
He was also known to the people of Ugarit and in Phoenicia, where Canaanite religion was widespread. The main source of information about Mot in Canaanite mythology comes from the text discovered in Ugarit. Now Mot kills Baal Hadad. Anat brutally kills Ma, grinds him up, and scatters his ashes.
Oh my gosh.
Baal Hadad returns to Mount Zephron. Mot, having recovered from being grounded up and scattered, challenges Baal Hadad. Baal Hadad refuses. Mot submits. Baal Hadad rules again. And that is what the Baal cycle series of stories are. That's what they consist of. So, what do you think about that?
I think it's interesting, and I feel like that's why I was getting Mott mixed up with Baal, because when we were looking them up, Mott up, that's kind of what I probably was having intertwined. So that's what it was. He attacked. How do you overpower? Well, I guess it's God if you're God, and Baal technically means God. And then, yeah, I guess that does make sense for you to be able to overpower death. So that's not really a valid question. But,
that's pretty interesting.
And then it says she demands. I didn't. Oh, that's a not. Okay. Yeah.
Now, we were able to cover that pretty good, and I think we should get on to Porphyry of Tyre. Now, Porphyry Malchus of Tyre, 23 to 309 AD, was born in Tyre and studied in Athens before joining the Neoplatonist group of Plotinus in Rome, where he studied philosophy. Porphyry was a man of great learning and was interested in and had great talent for historical and philosophical criticisms. He had a passion to uproot false teachings in order to ennoble people and turn them to the good. He declared the salvation of the soul as the ultimate purpose of philosophy. His works included Against the Christians, a work of 15 volumes directed not against Christ or his teachings, but against the Christians of his own day and their sacred books. He argued they were the work of ignorant people and deceivers. He attacked Christian doctrines on both philosophical and exegetical grounds. As to be expected, his books were banned in 448 and ordered destroyed by the Christians. Copious extracts from them remain in the writings of St. Augustine and others. Other books, such as Aids to the Study of the Intelligibles, is the basic summary of Neoplatonism. He wrote against Moses and attacked Eusebius of Caesarea. He lived in austere celibate life. Now,
Porphyra believed that animals, unlike plants, although having somewhat, you were going to say something about what he was doing. If you finish reading him, I'll do Tawadis.
Hold on a minute. No. There was Neoplatonism. I wanted to kind of go over that with the Wikipedia.
Okay.
That way we can get that basically on video. So, because we
discussed it a little bit because I have them pulled up in my notes, but I'm not sure how much we went into detail.
Yeah, and I've made a link to the Wikipedia if you haven't got it up. But let's see here. Now, Neoplatonism is a version of Platonic philosophy that emerged in the 3rd century AD against the background of Hellenistic philosophy and religion. The term does not encapsulate a set of ideas as much as a series of thinkers. Among the common ideas it maintains is monism, the doctrine that all of reality can be derived from a single principle, the One. Neoplatonism began with Ammonius Saccas and his student Plotinus, circa 204 to 205 from 204 to 205 to 271 AD. And
so started in the 0405,
yeah. And stretched to the 6th century AD. After Plotinus, there were 3 distinct periods in the history of Neoplatonism. The work of his student Porphyry, 3rd to early 4th century. That of Lamblichus, 3rd to 4th century. And
but if it's Lamb, wouldn't it be Lamblichus? Because Lamb is already Lamb. Yeah, like I was just wondering. I'm not.
Yeah. 3rd to 4th century. In the period in the 5th and 6th century when the academies of Alexandria and Athens flourished. Now, Hellenism is another thing that is important to remember.
What does Helen have to do with right now? I just saw something recent about Hellenism and Hellen religion type. What is this? What is that? What is this?
Now, Hellenistic philosophy is ancient Greek philosophy corresponding to the Hellenistic period of ancient Greece. From the death of Alexander the Great in 323 BC to the Battle of Actium in 31 BC. The dominant schools of this period were the Stoics, the Epicureans, and the Skeptics. So when you hear about the Stoics in Greek philosophy,
Stoics, that's a new concept to me, but I mean, I've heard it recently a lot. Stoics. I thought it was Stoics. Stoics, right? Stoics.
yeah,
Stoics.
Stoic. Yeah.
That and PSYOP, like these are new words that I see a lot often. I just didn't know what they mean. But go ahead.
Yeah. Let me see where I'm at now.
I apologize.
Okay.
I got you thrown off.
No, I threw myself off. I got caught up in the Hellenistic thing. I wanted to point that out. Now, Neoplatonism had an enduring influence on the subsequent history of Western philosophy and religion. In the Middle Ages, Neoplatonic ideas were studied and discussed by Christian, Jewish, and Muslim thinkers. In the Islamic cultural sphere, Neoplatonic texts were available in Arab and Persian translations, and notable philosophers such as Al-Farabi, Salam ibn Gibral, Avicenna, or Ibn Sina, and Maimonides incorporated Neoplatonic elements into their own thinking. Now, Christian philosophy and theology, Thomas Aquinas, 1225 to 1274, had direct access to the works of Proclus, Simplicius of Cilicia, and Pseudo Dionysius of
It's not of, but just
and Pseudo Dionysius the Areopagite.
Pagite, but I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure it's a soft G, not Pagite. It's like Pagite, yeah.
Pagite. Areopagite. And he knew about other Neoplatonists such as Plotinus and Porphyry through secondhand sources. The German mystic Meister Eichenhardt, circa 1260 to circa 1328, was also influenced by Neoplatonism, propagating the contemplative way of life, which points to the Godhead beyond the nameable God.
You sound like me when you have me on here reading tell me when you need a break, because you sound like me when I've been reading. This is
long reading, so
30-40 minutes. No, but you know how I get tongue tied after I've been doing it for a while. So if you would like a break, I'm following along, and just tell me whenever.
No, I'll do this last sentence, and then I'll let you read something.
Okay.
Neoplatonism also had a strong influence on the perennial philosophy of the Italian Renaissance thinkers Marcello Ficino and Giovanni Pico della Mirandola, and continues through 19th century universalism in modern day spirituality.
Meister Eckhart, he sounds familiar. Eckhart, I don't know. There's somebody else that with Eckhart, like I don't know who he is though, but he sounds really, really familiar to me. And I think it's crazy what Porphyry stood up for, and what, like I feel our morals and our beliefs parallel a lot, in regards to just like some, not completely denouncing Christian teaching because it's incorporative, but to not focus so much on the religious aspect of the teachings as much as the lessons of the teaching. And I just think that's interesting. I wonder if he's reincarnated within as well.
Now, they do have a page on him, and he was a mystic, so we could use him on our strangeness topic too,
Okay.
because
Meister Eckhart. Let me
that
pull
would
him up.
actually be, that'd go nicely with it.
Okay.
We could actually go through and see what he was about and stuff. So they said he also went by Eckhart von Hochheim, commonly known as Meister Eckhart or Meister Eckhart or Eckhart.
Mhm. I
Claimed
see him.
original name Johannes.
No. I thought
Eckhart.
this was for strangeness. Hold on. Time out.
No.
No, let's go.
No, I mean no, I ain't doing that. I'm just going over his name because you were saying his name sounded familiar, so I put the mouse over it. That's all.
Oh, I thought you were. Cause look, that's the first paragraph. I done pulled up the Wikipedia so I could bookmark it for me to make sure I have whenever we do strangeness. And you're reading. I was like, wait.
I just
you're
wanted
doing
to
strangeness.
make the name known. My
I see
goodness.
Right,
My
I know you're
goodness.
going so far ahead of yourself. Let's go back to Pafara. You sound like me now. Look at you with your distractions.
So now, we have Porphyri, alright? And now I want to go through some of the intangible, the stuff that he was talking about, auxiliaries to the perception of intangible nature. And there's a lot of these too, so I'm gonna give you the link and let you read some of them, because
I was going to ask you too, are we going to click the page in the book? Because I clicked the page in the book and they have this whole thing on Porphyri, Malachus of Tyre. Are we going to touch on that? Before joining the was born in Tyre, studied in Athens before joining the Platonic group of Plotinus in Rome.
Yeah,
Are we?
I got most of that off the. You're talking about Plotinus, right?
No, Porphyri of
Porphyri.
Tyre. Yeah, when I clicked in our book, it says please see linked page, and so I clicked the linked page, and then it pulls up a pretty sizable description and account for works and events in regards. That's why I was just wondering, that might be a little bit more referable than Wiki.
Just so you get an idea of the amount of reading, click on that last link that I just posted.
Oh, I just did. Tertullian.org. What is this? Let me put it on the big screen because this is whoa.
Okay, so this is auxiliary to the perception of the intelligible natures. Okay, this is what makes up the Neoplatonists. This is what their philosophy is. So,
you ready for me to read, or you?
Yeah, let me see exactly how far down
This
this.
is like wild. Yeah, we can maybe do section 2. That's
See if we can
33.
see if we can read to section 1. If it gets too tiring, man, we'll stop, because
Okay.
it's pretty lengthy. Okay, go for it.
Okay. Auxiliary is to the perception of intelligible natures. Everybody is in place, but nothing essentially incorporeal or anything of this kind has any locality. Things essentially incorporeal, because they are more excellent than all by in place, are everywhere, not with interval, but impartably. Yeah. Number 3. Things essentially incorporeal are not locally present with bodies, but are present with them when they please, by verging towards them so far as they are naturally adapt so to verge. They are not, however, present with them locally, but through habitude, proximity, and alliance. So, just so I can make sure I'm listening to what I understand, is basically we're one with nature, but we might not be joined with bodies, but we can we're joined with like spirit, basically type. Is that what?
Yeah, because they're saying that we're essentially incorporeal and not locally present with bodies. but are present with them.
Yeah, we're incorporated within the body, and that's how we're able to astral travel, and our spirit is able to be other places. See, that makes
Urging.
sense to me.
Verging towards them so far as they are naturally adapted so to verge.
Number 4, things essentially incorporeal are not present with bodies, but hypothesis and essence. Hypostasis. By hypostasis and essence. Where they, yeah, I knew the word. I knew I was saying it wrong. That's why I said it wrong incorrectly enough times for me to remember how it's supposed to be pronounced. For
like
they are not mingled. Huh?
Kind of like Sanathan. Like,
oh, look at you. Sanathan. Sanathan. For they are not mingled with bodies, but they impart a certain power which is proximate to bodies through verging towards them. For tendencies constitutes a certain secondary power proximate to bodies. 5. Soul, indeed, is a certain medium between an impartible essence and an essence which is divisible about bodies. But intellect is an impartible essence alone, and qualities and material forms are divisible about bodies. 6. Not everything which acts on another affects that which it does affect by approximation and contract, but those natures which affect anything by approximation and contact use approximation accidentally. 7. The soul is bound to the body by a conversion of the corporeal passions and again liberated by becoming impassive to the body. That's interesting. That's what that is. Quella prima, cappuccino. This, that which nature binds nature, that which nature binds nature also dissolves, and that which the soul binds, the soul likewise dissolves. Nature, indeed, bound the body to the soul, but the soul binds herself to the body. Nature, therefore, liberates the body from the soul, but the soul liberates herself from the body. Hence, there is a twofold death. The one, indeed, universally known, in which the body is liberated from the soul, but the other, peculiar to philosophers, in which the soul is liberated from the body, nor does the one entirely follow the other. 10. We do not understand similarity in all things, but in manner adapted to the essence of each. For intellectual objects, we understand intellectually, but those that pertain to soul, rationally. We apprehend plants spermatically, but bodies ideologically, and that which is above all these, super intellectually and super essentially. 11. Incorporeal hypostasis is descending, are distributed into parts, and multiplied about individuals with diminution of power, diminution.
Diminution.
Yeah, it's diminution, but I know that it's just domination. Oh, because it's long eye. Yeah, with the domination power.
Let me do a search for you on there, and I'll get that word for you. I already have hypostasis, so.
Now this thing is not talking to me like it was a second ago. It's being. It's
so.
Being picky.
Hypostasis. Philosophy and religion, the essence of underlying reality. Hypostasis in linguistics is personification of entities. Hypostasis in literature is awareness of a fictional character, and their world is fiction. So that would be a little bit of those three things mixed together. Now, diminution
is that how it's pronounced?
Yeah.
Or is it die?
In Western music, the music theory diminution from medieval Latin diminutio, alteration of Latin diminutio, decrease, has four distinct meanings. Diminution may be a form of embellishment in which a long note is divided into a series of shorter, usually melodic values, also called coloration. Diminution may also be the compositional device where a melody, theme, or motif is presented in shorter note values than were previously used. Diminution is also the term for proportional shortening of the value of individual notes shaped in mensural notation, either by coloration or by a sign of proportion. A minor or perfect interval that is narrowed by the chromatic semitone is a diminished interval, and the process may be referred to as diminution. This too was sometimes referred to as coloration. Now, diminution as embellishment. Diminution is a form of embellishment or melody variation, which that just goes all over it again. So, yeah, that's basically what they're talking about. So, the individual with a diminution of power. So that would be like, like they just said the perfect thing here. It would be an embellishment, like you know how notes have like a minor
bullet points.
A,
Yeah,
then you
like
have
I had
minor
it.
A.
You know.
It would be like a embellishment.
Yeah. Yeah, like high A, low A, yeah, flat, yeah.
So that's basically what they're talking about. It would and multiply.
I thought you were saying notes. I was thinking you were talking about like an outline and having like a header, and then having like when you have the outline, you have your header, and then you have your numbers, and then you have your little letters underneath. But you were talking about within music, like they were saying melodic, and then high G, low G, high A. Yeah, I know.
So incorporeal hypostasis is descending. In descending are distributed into parts, and they're diminished, and are into parts and multiplied. Yeah, with a diminished amount of power.
Diminution of power.
But when they ascend, yeah, there you go. That makes sense.
But when they ascend by their energies beyond bodies, they become united and proceed into a simultaneous subsistence through exuberance of power, which makes so much sense because it's like a power surge. That's why I be telling people like getting electrocuted. Everyone's so scared of it. But I could imagine if you got electrocuted while you were like with no restrictors, like no clothes, of course no technology, because that would kind of blow it. But like if it was just you and electricity direct source, I imagine it creating and producing a power surge, making you smarter and stronger. Most people say that in most cases you would die, but I think the things that cause the issues when people get electrocuted are the restrictors, because most people are not naked somewhere getting electrocuted. They're usually touching something else, which we don't want to touch the ground, anything but just grass, you know what I mean? But like they're usually touching something else, something man-made. But if it was just you and a direct connection to like lightning in the middle of like an open field, like that's like one of my things on my bucket list. I know it sounds insane, but like to literally be like completely free and you know what I mean, no inhibitors, because that's what I call closings of their inhibitors. And so those restrictors would actually produce a counter reaction, and so it would. So that's why your clothes end up burned. You know what I mean? That's why your
Yep.
clothes end up burned up. Like if you could just have they use electricity to restart the heart, but they use it and they're controlling it. Well, it's a power surge through a machine. So if it was just straight directly from the source, just imagine the type of power you have. You know what I mean? Well, I mean,
Now,
in
you
my
got to remember too, like this is being written down way before electricity was ever even thought of. Like people,
and that's why I think it's cool
you
because it
know.
must be true. It makes me feel like I know. I've had
Now,
this feeling for years.
I've got an idea that we need to hold off on this. We'll do 12 next, but hold off on this because this will be another one that would be good to add to what we're gonna do on what is that? Strangeness on Sunday, right?
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah,
We
I
need
really
to go
like
through this. This has got good stuff on there.
it. Does it really does? I feel like it's more strangeness and stuff than it is in
Yeah.
history, but it's history still. It's just you know what I mean.
Now read
So am I
read the
or you-
12th one,
Okay.
and we'll stop there on this one and add this to the bucket list for that day because
Okay.
I think we got something good here.
That sounds good with me. The harmonious is not embodies only, but life also is among the number of things which has a multifarious subsistence. For the life of a plant is different from that of an animated being. The life of an intellectual essence differs from that of the nature being, which is beyond intellect, and the physical differs from the intellectual life. For the natures live through nothing which proceeds from them possesses a life similar to them. For
Yeah.
these, nature lives through nothing which proceeds from the possesses from them possesses a life similar to them.
Now, right here too, this kind of sticks out to me as animalism. I don't know if you know much about that, but with animalism, they believe animals have a soul.
Yeah, no, definitely. But is that really a thing called animalism? I thought that
Yeah,
was just
well, they
knowledge.
not just animals, even like trees,
Trees and everything they do though.
everything.
Like, have you ever talked to a tree? Most people say no, so it wouldn't be strange if not. But if you listen, everything. Like my cat talks to me. I can hear her. Yesterday, I ended up giving her a shower. She hates water, and like she talks, you know. But it's like a telepathic type thing. The same with the trees. You can hear. They give you messages. They can tell you which direction to go, why not to go a certain way. Like I think that's crazy. Pocahontas is something that kind of like elaborates on this a little, but you know, Pocahontas kind of got swept under the rug as a classic. It was there and then it wasn't type of thing. But it's crazy because there's a lot of truth in that, just from experience more than it is from actual anything else.
Mhm. So after that, I think we also need to go over Philo of Byblos.
He's next on our thing.
Yeah.
No, Philo, actually, Tawitis is next on the thing.
No, he's actually still a part of the Neoplatonism situation. So once I read him, we'll be finished with Neoplatonism. And now Tawatis, we can do Tawatis, but do you want to get into the good stuff? Do you want to get into Nicole and Dionysus? Or do you want we
I mean, whatever you feel like will be more interesting towards the play.
like you want it's up to you. I mean, I'm good with it. We can cover Philo.
Tawitis is just next.
Yeah.
We've been talking about him a lot. The reason why I said that is because Porphyri, Malchus of Tyree, right after we read his paragraph, is Tawitis of Byblos or so. And that's why I was saying we could, but if we
Well,
have
give us
something, I see what you're saying, Diodorus.
yeah. So
I see now what you were saying.
it's up to you. I mean,
It's up to you. You keep telling me it's up to me. I'm telling you it's up to you. I mean, like,
it's not really that big of a
maybe if you
description.
want to surprise me,
It's not really a big
Yeah, it's like-
description of it. So, I mean,
So then let's do both if we have time. Let's
Yeah.
start with
exactly.
Didorius. Yeah, let's do that. And if we have time, we'll go. Yeah,
No, let me go ahead.
Didorius.
I'll put up the link for that one. Philo of Biblis. Like I said, it's pretty short. So, Philo of Biblis.
Philo of Biblius, you mean right here?
Yeah.
In our Phoenician and okay.
Also known as Herennius Philon, was an antiquarian writer of grammatically, lexical, and historical works in Greek. He is chiefly known for his Phoenician history, assembling from the writings of Sanchuniathon. His life. Philo was born in the 1st century in Babylon, in what is now Lebanon. He lived into the reign of Hadrian, of which he wrote a history now lost. His name, Herennius, suggests that he was a client to the consul Suffectus Herennius Severus, through whom Philo may have achieved the status of a Roman citizen. His works. Philo wrote a dictionary of synonyms, a collection of scientific writers and their works organized by category, a catalog of cities with their famous citizens, and a vita of the Emperor Hadrian. Some of his work is known to us by titles only. Others have survived in fragmentary quotes in Christian authors. Among his works are On the Acquisition of the Choice of Books, On Cities and Their Famous Men, epitomized by the grammarian Iulius Soranus, and one of the chief authorities used by Hesychius and Stephanus of Byzantium, on synonyms, of which there is extant an epitome by Ammonius Grammaticus. But he is chiefly known for his translation of the Phoenician history of Sanchuniathon, who was said to have lived before the Trojan War.
Nothing. We read this last week.
Yeah. So I'm gonna stop it right there. Now, do you want to go over to Wattis?
Today, or you mean next week? We can, if you want to. I'll read it. Yeah.
Go for it. Is it long?
Okay. No, it's just a little paragraph. It's really simple.
All right.
Tawadis of Biblius or Toth came from Biblius, Phoenicia, 2000 BC. According to the Egyptians, language is attributed to Tawadis, who was the father of tautology or imitation. He had been first written after 2,000 years because, or earlier, he played his flute. Oh, that's neat. He played his flute to the chief deities of Biblius, the moon goddess, Balat Nickel. Tawadis was called Toth by the Greeks and Jihatai by the Egyptians. Jehetu. The mythology of Tawadis is echoed in the god of Dionysus or Injorth.
Yeah.
Injorth, the snake priest, who was the consort to the moon goddess. The snake priest was also represented by the symbol of a pillar, a wand, or a caduceus. The Greek equated Thoth with the widely traveled Hermes. According to the Egyptian tradition, Osiris traveled the world with Thoth. Asclepios, aka as Eshmun, is responsible for carrying on the teaching of Tawadis on snake priesthood. Under the protective umbrella of Hindu culture, snake charmers playing their nasal punji echo the same tradition. In the early ages of Christianity, some monks, such as Pachomius, was a seraphic priest before he became a Christian. Similarly, Ormus is said to have been a seraphic priest before being converted by Saint Mark. Some believe that he fused those mysteries with Christianity and established a school of Solomonic wisdom. And then
Yeah.
it just cites the extracts here.
Now, I do have a small piece on Nicole, and I can read that to give you a break. But on Dionysus, their wiki is huge. Okay, so I can share that wiki on here, and then on our live chat 24 or our live chat chat. You know what I mean? And we can go
Right.
through that maybe at another time. But this is huge. Like they have epithets and origins and stuff like that. So that right there by itself would take forever. But Nicole is one that I think we should really work on because this is the Canaanite goddess that they mention in the writing that you just read. Baal, Baalat Nicole, which is the moon goddess.
I'm about to look at it now.
So I've got the link down there in the Jitsi if you want to read that. That's a hard one to find, but
Um,
it's the second to the bottom.
oh, the second to the bottom, not Dino.
Yeah, Dionysus is the equivalent of her.
Ready? Okay. Nicole.
You want
Nicole is the can.
you want to read it?
Okay. Nicole is the Canaanite goddess of fruits and fertility, who is a goddess of orchards. Her husband is the moon god Yarick, who causes the dew to fall each night and water her trees so that they may thrive. Her name comes from the West Semitic Iyat Inibi, or goddess of fruit, and she is also called Nicol Waib, meaning great lady and fruitful. She is the daughter of the summer god Kirkihibi, who did not at first want her to marry Yarik, and instead suggested he marry either it should be she marry oh maybe it was him. He married either Padraria or Yaberdame, both daughters of Baal. After a generous bride price was offered, made up of 1,000 pieces of silver, 10,000 pieces of gold, and including necklaces made of lapis lazuli. I remember, and that's a beautiful
Mm-hmm.
blue. I remember. Appropriate coming from a god of the night sky. Kirkihibi relented and the two were wed. Later, the Kothariite, no, that's not it, Kothariat, the skillful goddess of marriage and childbirth, came to oversee the birth of the son of Nicol and Yarika, no, Yarik. Alternately, Nicol is sometimes called the daughter of Dagon or Dagon of Tutul, who, like Nicol Wa'ib, is a deity of fertility and agriculture, specifically a wheat god credited with inventing the plow. The goddess Ningal of Sumeria, with whom Nicol had been identified, is often depicted before a date tree and other important fruit trees of the area that would have been in Nicol's orchard are the olive, fig, and apple, along with the nut trees such as the pistachio, walnut, and almond. Her connection with Yarrick has sometimes caused her to be labeled a goddess of the moon herself. Given that the moon is almost always considered male in the Semitic culture, I find this unlikely. Her Sumerian equivalent is Ningal, the Great Lady, wife of Nana, the moon god. Their twin children are Inanna, goddess of the planet Venus, and Utu, the God, the son of God. Wait, yeah, the son of God. Utu, the son of God.
The sun
In the
god.
later, in the later but closely related Babylon tradition, she is still called Ningal, but her husband, the moon god, is named Sin. Their children are Ishtar, wow, and Shamash, wow, okay,
Hmm.
the sun god, who is a male version of the Canaanite sun god Shapash. We read about all these people.
Yep.
She is sometimes simply called Ib, the fruitful one. Nikal Wa'ib has also been interpreted as great lady and bright, great goddess of fruit or fruit of the earth, the meaning of the name of her, and it
Or
kind of goes
Sumerian.
off like I don't see
The
anything
meaning
else.
of
Oh, there
her
you go.
Sumerian Babylonian counterpart, Ningal, is the lady of the temple. Now, when they say Inanna, they're talking about Ishtar too. So, because Ishtar or Inanna eventually became Ishtar. So, just to let you know. And
It's the
Ningal.
same.
Now they're saying that Ningal and Inanna were officially their parents. So that says it here. I'll have to find out if that's actually true because I'd like to know that. That's one thing that got me curious about it because who was actually Inanna and Shamash's parents? Because it gets kind of confusing in the tablets. You know what I mean? So
Right.
I don't know for sure if that's actual fact. But I was under the impression before now that Nana was her father. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like I heard you say that, and because father, Nana means father or dad,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that when I first met you.
And they had twins, and
Ishtar and Utu, or what wasn't it? Ishtar was
Ishtar and freaking
Utu, UTU.
no Shamash
Oh no,
and
no.
um, Abtu is Abtu Shamash.
See, it says equivalent with Great Lady. Their twin children are Anana and Utu. It doesn't say anything about.
Utu is Shamash.
Oh, Ishtar and Shamash. I see what you're saying. So they're just saying in different cultures. I see what
Yeah,
you're saying. Oh, okay. So
and Anna
Utu and Anan, yeah.
Ishtar is Inanna, and Shamash is
Utu.
Utu.
I got it.
So, and I'm glad somebody actually did that on their page because that's a good issue. And I also want to point out too before we go through this, you know, a lot of people get the Sumerians mixed up with the Babylonians. All right, and they're two completely different cultures. That I know there's
Cultures. Right.
civilizations. Don't get me wrong, but there's cultures within the civilizations. You know what I mean? But they're two completely different ones. So when you're reading through a lot of the Sumerians, you'll hear people incorporate Babylonian text into it, and it's not there at that time. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's really important to
I've
understand.
heard Babylonian and Canaanite cross a lot. Well, at least they not by the culture itself, but just as descriptions. But I'm just learning how a lot of these do. Because even with Phoenician and Egyptian, there's a lot of culture that's like, but the Phoenician, this where the empire is, the territory is, it's so close, it only makes sense for it to cross over into, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
that's me. Just because where it is in relation, when you think about the trade and stuff like that, they traded right along like that area. So I don't know. It just makes sense that they would share some similarities within culture, but for it to be completely different and it to be so paralleled or so mixed up, I'll say it's just interesting in itself. I wonder how what side is right. the side that's connecting it and correlating it, or the side that's separating and saying, "Oh, it's not." Like, are they more similar than we really know, or you know what I mean? It's really hard to tell.
Yeah. Well, I know that as time went by, a lot of these beliefs got kind of intermingled together. And tonight, like, it really amazed me because, like, I've known about the Amorites, but I thought it was the other way around. You know what I mean? I thought that Sumerians, and I guess everybody does that, you know, since the Sumerians were the older ones, I thought maybe that it freaking their beliefs migrated outward. But like tonight they're saying that the Amorites actually influenced the well, they didn't technically say Sumerians though. They said the freaking Mesopotamians. So that you're like,
it's not.
You're breaking up on
Ugarit.
Ugarit is.
Oh, I was just. Yeah.
Ugarit is over in the Levant, isn't it? I believe we checked that out.
Yeah.
You know,
but I thought that. But who would you said that you thought it was the other way around? But who?
The Sumerians. The Sumerians.
Yeah.
But they could be referring to the Assyrians too, because the Assyrians were Mesopotamians.
And do they get mixed up often just because of location?
Oh yeah. I mean, you've got people mixing up the friggin' Sumerians with the Babylonians, and then they mix the Babylonian beliefs up with the Syrian beliefs. And then you got people like Sitchin who freaking start talking about the Hittite religions and stuff like that, and mistakenly start saying the freaking Sumerians did it on purpose, but I don't know. But
are Babylons and Canaanites, are they enemies? Are Babylonians and Canaanites enemies?
They have been, or they were at certain points. As the Assyrians, literally, they're the ones that annihilated the freaking Amorites. They obliterated them. There was no more of them because the Assyrians just went in and wiped them out. And then bragged about it. After that, you know what I mean?
Oh, we murdered your people. Yeah. Let's write a book. Put it on a tab.
Freaking, it's crazy, huh?
That's kind of funny. I mean, like, you're not supposed to do that, but I mean, like, I mean, back then, especially when it's dominating power, I can only imagine, like, it's kind of necessary for assertiveness. Like, yeah, I mean, I did this and we'll do it again. Like, if that's the type of attitude you're going to have, then you kind of respect them doing it with their head up and chest out, like, not doing no bully stuff and acting like they not bullies. Like, they told you, yeah, we bullied, yeah, we killed all those folks. Yeah, that was us. Up, no, that was me. Did it. And, like, you know what I mean? Matter of fact, I wrote it down so you don't get it misconstrued. Whereas some people do stuff like that and act like they ain't. So, you know, I kind of respect that way better.
Now, before we end this, I also want to let you know, because I don't know if you're aware of it or not, but Mr. Robot has his own Hacker Radio chat now on here for Minds chat.
Oh no, I didn't. I think I saw something about him saying that he was gonna do his show. Oh yeah, and then he said, okay, here it is. Oh, I thought it was just like a stream that I couldn't even tune in, so I didn't push it. Oh, okay, all right, so that's what that is. That makes sense. I think someone told him that he should enter its own chat.
Yep.
Yeah.
I figured I'd give him a plug since
he always be looking out, and pulling up usually.
Now, I think we should end it there and regroup and come up with some more good stuff. later on, because a lot of the stuff that we mentioned tonight actually started diving into what we were talking about, to be honest. And I've got everything that we discussed. I copied it onto the chat too, so it's right there.
Okay, nice.
So if you want to go over Dionysus later on, we can. And like I said, Nicole, I believe what they said was Dionysus was the Greek equivalence of Nicole. So that's kind of interesting. You got anything else?
No, I was starting to look for where I saw Mr. Robot's thing at. Because none of my stuff is the way it's supposed to be. I don't see, like, mine's supposed to say general chat, but it doesn't say general chat. And then it's just, I don't know, my phone's bugging. But anyway.
Alright then. Let's go ahead and end this, and then we'll figure out what's going on there and get back to next week or tomorrow. What is tomorrow?
Conspiracy.
Oh yeah, we got the good stuff. So, all right.
All right. Well, I'll see you tomorrow, and thank you for everything. Have a good night. Be safe.
You too.
Thank you.
Bye bye. All right.